Out of nowhere, Psycho Killer might have delivered the best horror villain of the year. The villain wasn't just ruthless, he had a mission, and he was not stopping. It's a winter slasher directed by Gavin Polone in his future debut, starring Georgina Campbell and James Preston Rogers. Welcome to the Grab Some Popcorn podcast. Your host Jared here to do a solo movie review for you. This movie follows Georgina Campbell's character, Jane Archer, a cop hunting down a satanic slasher after he kills her husband during a traffic stop. As she pieces clues together, it turns out this tight cat and mouse chase where she's trying to track him down and uncover the motive. There aren't a ton of side characters, it's mostly focused on that pursuit, but for horror fans, it definitely delivers on the carnage. Now let's talk about the villain. This isn't some layered psychological mastermind, this is a relentless mission-driven killer. So the reason he's called the satanic slasher is because after every kill, he leaves behind these ritualistic symbols. He's responsible for multiple murders along the interstate, and his end goal, blowing up a nuclear facility. What makes him stand out, though, is that he barely talks, but when he does, it lands. He's not some chaotic maniac, he's calculated. He doesn't rant online, he doesn't seek attention, he moves in silence, behind a mask. The character was inspired by real-life mass killers with satanic ideologies, and you can feel that influence. He's tall, physically imposing, and when he speaks, they give him this deep, unsettling voice. And the fact that he really rarely shows his face, that just adds to the mystery. I think the aesthetic of the mask and that voice alone are going to make him memorable for horror fans. One of my favorite movies has Jane tracking the slasher down to a tiny motel room. It's a tense, claustrophobic, and every second it feels she could lose her life, even though we know she probably won't. This scene really just shows you how calculated and dangerous the killer is. You feel it in every move he makes. Let's get to the strengths and weaknesses of the movie. For strengths, first of all, the villain is the star of this movie, hands down. Georgina Campbell does a great job balancing her story with the killers, but the scenes with him or her facing off with him, those are the best. In a slasher movie, the villain should absolutely dominate, and that's what he does in this one. As for weaknesses, I would have liked some more creative kills. There's a scene in this movie that's basically a cocaine party and it drags on for a little bit too long. Some of the CGI blood felt out of place, real practical effects might have hit harder, and while I enjoyed this movie, it doesn't do a ton to separate itself from other slashers. Alright, spoiler warning for anyone who hasn't seen the movie yet. Now, as far as the killer's motive, it comes down to his obsession with a metal band in one of their albums. This one with the picture of a church on it. At this church, a mass killing took place years ago, and the killer uses words from the album, written in blood at one of his murders to hint at his plan. Jane figures this out and tracks him down to the church, but notices a nuclear power plant nearby. Using all the clues she's collected throughout the movie, she realizes he's planning an attack there, and of course she goes and stops him just in time. I like the ending. He survived the attack and is eventually sent to prison, and it leaves a little room for a sequel, though I wouldn't bet on there being one. I'm giving Psycho Killer a bloody 6 out of 10. It's an enjoyable ride if you're a fan of the slasher genre, but don't expect anything out of the ordinary. If you want a slasher that actually tries to carve its own path, you should check out Hard Eyes from last year. Watch this one and then watch Hard Eyes, and you'll see the difference between a generic slasher and one that really stands out. That's my review, y'all. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the review. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the movie. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.